How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, come on, how's everybody doing tonight? Have you enjoyed walking around this big, beautiful, bold place and visiting all my friends? Oh, come on, liven up a little bit. I am delighted you are here. My name is Louis Watts. My friends all call me Louis, and tonight we're all friends, right?
Yes, sir.
And I am so delighted that you could be here at this big, bold, beautiful rally, because tonight I am announcing, proclaiming my intent to run for mayor in perpetuity of this here cemetery. Yes, thank you very much. You are looking at a 4-time mayor of our fair city of Kennesaw. And since you are here with me tonight, and I will be asking for your support, I thought I'd take just a minute to tell you a little bit about myself. Now, I was born in 1904, a little town called Fairmont, Georgia. For those that you may not be familiar with that thriving metropolis, if you took that paved path of 75, headed up towards Chattanooga, Gordon County, Dalton, you would find Fairmont, Georgia. It is a thriving metropolis. The whispering winds tell me 120 years later after my birth, 2024, they've got a bustling population of 766 people. I knew I always wanted to serve. And as we were coming out of the Great War, WW1, at 18 years old, I enlisted in the United States Army. Now at that time, after WW1, they were doing force reductions, and they only kept me for about 6 months. But I tried. Found myself moving around a bit after that. Found myself up in Cleveland, not Georgia, but Ohio. It was in Cleveland I met my beautiful bride, Helen. I was 22 years old. She was sweet 16. I don't think they'd let me do that today, but that's a different story. We ended up moving around a bit, and by the time we entered WW2, I was working down in Macon at Army Camp Wheeler as a civilian engineer. 1941, still wanting to serve. At the age of 37 years old, I signed my draft card. The Army said, "Thank you very much, we're good." By the time the later 50s rolled around, Ellen and I found ourselves moving up here to Marietta. We lived just off of Roswell Street, just south of Roswell Street down there. And I was an engineer by trade. My first job was at the old Bell Bomber plant, Lockheed. It was a good job. I really enjoyed that. My next job was even better. I became the city engineer for the city of Smyrna. Now that job was really nice, but it didn't last very long. There was a lot of friction between myself and the mayor and council. Now, for those of you who've been around a while, you may or may not get this, but that was before Max Bacon got there. So it was a good job. Had to quit that job, so in 1952, I opened a service station. And my beautiful bride, Helen, and I, we bought the Idison House, which is up here at Dallas in Maine. And we called Kennesaw our home. Still wanted to serve. 1956, I ran my first campaign for mayor of this city. Ran against a fellow incumbent by the name of Dobbs. I won that election 139 to 103. As you can see, we still have voter turnout problems even now. Now, I did end up serving 4 terms as mayor, non-consecutive terms, knowing that back in that day, in small municipalities, that the mayor and council may serve 1 year or 2 years. In fact, it was not until 1999 that the Georgia State Legislature ratified an amendment to the 1971 Kennesaw City Charter that spelled out 4-year terms for the mayor and council. Now, we did some good stuff during that first term. Who here's a city resident? We got city residents here? One of the first things that we did was we instituted citywide trash collection. And I tell you that, and the politician today will say, let me be perfectly clear, that 6% increase you guys said, I had nothing to do with that. We also hired the first full-time police officer here in Kennesaw. And no, his name was not Andy, and it was not Barney, and he had more than 1 bullet. But I am very proud of that, because if you look at the Kennesaw Police Department today, and the men and women that serve and protect this community, they are simply the best of the best. We also started the first volunteer fire department. Now, we gave that over to Cobb a little bit later on. 1965 to 1969, during my term as mayor, I became the Cobb County water manager. Great job, not very sexy, but it was a good job. A couple of other highlights of my terms as mayor. 1964, the centennial celebration and observance of the Civil War. It was a nationwide observance. Georgia was at the forefront of that observance. Kennesaw was at the forefront of Georgia's observance. It was a spectacle. We had the biggest reenactment of the Battle of Kennesaw anybody ever seen. We had nearly 2,000 participants reenacting that event. Matter of fact, some of them boys had original equipment from back then. Nearly 7,000 observers showed up for that event. It was a spectacle. Now, I will tell you, keeping in mind at the times, that was in June of 1964. July of 1964, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. So there were some things I can't tell you I'm really proud of. We should not whitewash history, but there were some things that happened in Kennesaw in June of 1964 that had to do with neo-Confederacy and racial issues that I am still paying today that we deal with that. We're better at that. There was another great thing that came out of that, though, and that was a conversation about bringing the general back home. Who knows the general? Yeah, right on. So 1967, we made a push to bring the general back. And we were doing well, and it was actually coming back down the tracks. And this uppity mayor up in Chattanooga stopped the general from coming back. So we did what every good politician does. We sued him. 1969, a U.S. district judge ruled that the general actually belonged to the L&N Railroad. Now, we had done a pretty good job leading up to that of making ties with the Chamber of Commerce and the state of Georgia. The L&N Railroad gave the general to the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia said that Kennesaw could bring the general home. So what we did with my friend Ben Robertson, who's up there, is we took that old frayed cotton gin and we turned it into the Big Shanty Museum. And that became the home of the general. That Big Shanty Museum is now the Smithsonian-affiliated Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History. An outstanding place. I highly recommend you go over there. Now, Ben, for his efforts over time in the city, he got himself a really nice building named after himself, this community center over at the park. I got myself a street by City Hall. I'm not bitter about that. But I will tell you, when I'm reelected, that east side of City Hall, it's going to be a big, beautiful ballroom. I passed away in 1982. And there has been talk, as I am running again in politics, of people that are running for office that do not live in their district. Well, I'm here to tell you who. Because I do not, newfangled technology, my word. I am not buried here in this cemetery. I was interned in Pine Mountain down in Marietta. But I am here to tell you that my heart still, well, my heart went with my body, but my spirit and my soul resides here in Kennesaw. So I am asking for your support running for mayor of eternity. And if you would like to support that effort, you can give to my slush fund, my super PAC, called the Kennesaw Cemetery Foundation. And they will work with my campaign with no coordination, wink, wink, to help me run and achieve that office. I thank you all for your time. I hope you had a great night, and we appreciate you coming out.